Now.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I see some people in the room. I hope you were able to tune in last week for the first episode of our mini webinar series. It was with our managing partner, Samantha Fitzgerald, and she discussed all things trust. So each week we're doing a different estate planning document. This week, tonight, I'll be talking about all things designation of healthcare surrogate. And then the next 2 weeks, we have Lauren Burns, who's going to be diving into durable power of attorney and wills. Okay, I see some people entering. I do want to give a special shout out to Jenny Lamb, who is our marketing director, and she puts all of these awesome events together. So thank you, Jenny.
Thank you. Well, thanks for joining everyone tonight. Today's topic's going to be a good one.
Thanks, Jenny. Okay, so I think we're going to wait a few more seconds and then jump right into it. Okay. So hi, everyone. I am Ashley Tacher. I'm one of the attorneys at our firm. This is my first webinar, so welcome. Remember, if you have any questions, there is a chat feature and you can pop your questions in the chat box. Okay, so before we get into the content of our webinar, let's discuss a little about the firm. So our firm is called SJF Law Group. We're located in Plantation, Florida. I have had the pleasure of personally working here for the last 3 years. We do estate planning, probate, and trust administration. That's what we specialize in. Okay, so jumping in, talking about healthcare surrogates. So what is a healthcare surrogate? So a healthcare surrogate is a person who is designated to make medical decisions on behalf of you or the person creating the document if you are ever unable to do so yourself. This could be because of incapacity or any other situation where you might not be able to speak for yourself and make decisions. Okay, so it's time for a quick poll. Want to be interactive. So the poll should have popped up on your screen, and it says, in what situations do you think having a healthcare surrogate is most important? So there's some options there: sudden illness or injury, chronic illness management, end-of-life care decisions, or all of the above. Okay, I'll give it a few more seconds. We have 3 people who've answered so far. Okay, so I will go ahead and spoil the answer. The answer is all of the above. So for those of you who put sudden illness or injury, you're not technically wrong, but technically all of these situations, it is highly important to have a healthcare surrogate designated. Okay. So let's talk about the responsibilities of a healthcare surrogate. So some of these responsibilities include making medical decisions. So if an individual has become incapacitated, then their healthcare surrogate will make decisions about treatment options, about medical procedures, and eventually, end-of-life care. Another responsibility is consulting with healthcare providers. So in order to understand the individual's condition and treatment options, the healthcare surrogate will speak to the doctor and they'll communicate about the condition and any available treatment options. And lastly, another responsibility is advocating for the individual's wishes. So a big job is to act as an advocate for the individual and ensuring that their wishes are respected. So this may involve, advocating for different treatments that might better align with the individual's values or religion or wishes. So it's very important to understand the individual's wishes. Okay, so some criteria for choosing a healthcare surrogate. The first one is trustworthiness. So when you're naming a healthcare surrogate, this should be someone who you trust, and they're going to, make decisions that are aligned with your wishes. So they should be dependable and capable of advocating for your interests. They should also be available. So they need to be available to act on your behalf when needed. This extends to not just physically present and not just, in the same area that you're in, but also someone who can become emotionally and mentally prepared to make certain decisions that are very difficult. This person should also be understanding. They should, understand your values, your beliefs, your preferences when it comes to medical treatment. And it should align with what you would have wanted if you were making the decision for yourself. And lastly, communication. Communication is probably the most important. It's important for you to communicate with them and then to communicate with your healthcare providers, other family members. Everyone involved should understand the individual's wishes and the decisions that are being made by the healthcare surrogate. Okay, so it's time for another poll. This one is, do you think you would be a good healthcare surrogate for your loved ones? It's definitely a tough role, and some people are just not mentally or emotionally cut out for it, but you should, think about people who would be in your case. Okay, so I see a lot of people think that they would be good healthcare surrogates. That's good. Okay, so now that you understand the criteria for choosing a healthcare surrogate and the responsibilities that they would have to make, you've selected someone. Now you would formalize this in a legal document, which is called a designation of healthcare surrogate. So Jenny will be throwing up a downloadable handout. This will be a sample healthcare surrogate for you to take a look at. You can download it and you can see what one looks like, what kind of information is in there, and all things like that. So this is the document that legally authorizes the healthcare surrogate that you've named to make medical decisions on your behalf when or if you become incapacitated. So in Florida, there are certain things that need to be done. So the document needs to be signed by the principal. So that means the person who's creating the document needs to actually sign it. This signature needs to be done in front of 2 adult witnesses. Typically, this should not be the people that are being named. These should be third-party witnesses. And this document technically does not need to be notarized. If you were to come to our firm and execute this document, we do make sure that it's notarized, but it technically does not need to be notarized. We just like to be extra sure. Okay, and so to recap, it is very, very important to choose a trusted surrogate to make medical decisions if you're unavailable. And remember to regularly update your designation. Things happen, things change. So you want to make sure that the people that you've nominated are still the same ones who you want to make those decisions for you. And lastly, communication is key. So always communicate your wishes. You want to make sure that the people that you've named truly understand what you would do in any given situation. Okay, so that's it for the content of our slides. If you scan the QR code on the screen, it will take you to certain links to our social media pages, to our website, and we have lots of great information on there. As a reminder, we're continuing this mini webinar series throughout the rest of this month, so stay tuned for that. And thank you very much for attending my first webinar, and I hope to see you in a future one. Have a great night, everybody.